This episode is brought to you by marketing consulting firm The Bonafide Lyrics and Marketing, LLC, where creativity meets business. You can check us out at www.theblm.com for more information on how we help local artists and creatives maximize their business presence. Yeah, boy.
Yeah.
It's the All Love, No Fear podcast.
Hey.
It's the All Love, No Fear podcast.
Hey.
Check us out. It's the All Love, Oh, No Fear podcast. All Love, Oh, No Fear podcast.
Hey.
Hey, everybody. We here. Episode 2, Season 2 of the All Love, No Fear podcast. You know who we are.
Hey.
Yes.
We are at episode 2. Hey.
Marcus, wow.
We are at episode 2. Hey.
You had a timing on that one. You had to kind of catch it a little bit.
Yeah,
it's fine.
I was a little off.
Right, you got
a little off.
You were a little exuberant, which, I appreciate your excitement and whatnot. But, here we are.
So we are at the second episode.
Word.
Now we are here with the recording video again.
Word. So I'm sorry again if I'm doing weird things. I'm just not used to video yet.
Yeah. We're going to figure this out.
Word.
You're going to figure it out with us.
Word. Join us for the ride.
I'll be honest. I hated how I sounded last time. So I'm going to try to talk clearer this time.
Okay.
That is my goal.
These are the goals.
Yeah.
These are the goals.
Without sounding like I'm trying to talk clearer.
Okay. So you want to do it but not seem like you're concentrating as much.
Yes. Because when I do that, I sound robotic and it sounds ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it does.
I feel you. I
All right. So, real quick, how was your weekend?
How was my weekend? What did I do? I don't even know. These weekends be going by so fast. And I was with you also. So, how was our weekend? What did we do? I'm sorry.
That's called passing the buck.
I'm sorry. I don't know. Okay, so what did I do? So yesterday,
you were just decorating the church.
I was decorating the church for the holiday celebration that's happening on Wednesday. So yeah, I did that. Then I went to, where did I go?
I think I
went to Trader Joe's, one of my favorite places in the whole wide world. Trader Joe's is my happy place. I love Trader Joe's. There are just so many amazing products and things in there that you can get, and it doesn't cost a lot.
Word.
You can really, go in there and spend less than $50 and actually have a basket full of items. It's really just a beautiful, beautiful place. I wouldn't go on a Saturday though. I wouldn't.
I guess it's Whole Foods if Whole Foods cared about people who don't have money.
Right. It's the budget-friendly version of Whole Foods. And dare I say, better quality to me. I feel like I like Trader Joe's stuff more than stuff I buy from Whole Foods. That's just my opinion. And maybe I'm biased because the Whole Foods stuff be whole paycheck stuff. And I wouldn't know.
I haven't stepped in Whole Foods in a long time since I paid for a $35 grape. So
$35 for grapes? What kind of?
I just feel as if I'm exaggerating, of course, but I feel as if I pay excessive amounts of money for Whole Foods, and I don't like it. I don't like anything about it.
Listen, it's you gotta.
I don't like anything about it.
Yeah,
it's quite trash.
Would not recommend.
No.
Would not recommend.
I would not recommend.
Yeah, even when I go there for because there's a Whole Foods by my office, and occasionally, I want plantains really bad.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the only places around me that I can get them. So I'll go there, get a little box, because they have the hot lunch, the hot buffet, whatever thing. So I'll go get a little plantain, get a little, what's the other thing they got? These sweet chili wings, and maybe a little, dollop of, what's that thing called? Cream spinach. I go put it on the weigh thing and it's $15. I'm for 3 plantains, 3 chicken wings, and a spoonful of cream spinach. All right. It's good, but it ain't no $15 worth. So I've had to let that go as a thing that I'm going to do in my life. Because I'm I can't, if I'm going to spend $15 for lunch, I'm going to have something that's a little bit more substantial than whatever it is they're trying to offer. So no, it's a dub on that.
Word.
Like I do like their cookies though, and those are reasonably priced, all things considered. So every now and again, I'll go in there and get one of their chocolate chip cookies or something. And their sodas aren't bad. If I want to have a soda but like not feel bad about myself for having it, I'll go there. But yeah, generally, it's a dub.
Okay.
It's a dub, 100% dub.
Word.
Yeah.
But real quick before we get into it, shout out to y'all on Spotify. Shout out to y'all on Apple Podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to y'all on Google Podcasts. Shout out to y'all on Stitcher. Shout out to y'all on Blueberry.
Word.
Shout out to y'all on iHeartRadio.
Word.
Shout out to you on YouTube. Ha ha.
Ha ha.
We're on YouTube.
On the tubes of you.
On the tubes of you. We are there.
So
please come watch us out there. Our first episode is up there. We're going to start releasing the video on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
And the audio, of course, as you can hear right now, is on Tuesday.
Word. Tuesdays at 7 a.m.
Word. If you have any questions for us, you can always hit us up at allofnofearpcast@gmail.com. And we're going to go right into our Love It.
Or lose it.
And love it.
Or love
it. Or lose it. Love it, love it, love it, love it, lose it.
What was that, baritone, bass? Like what?
It was everything.
It was all the things. You just slide.
I used all the notes.
Yeah, you used you had a scale. Okay, cool. All right.
Notes.
Well, it wasn't. Okay, that's fine. That's what you want to do. Who are me to judge you? So, Love It or Lose It this week. So this is inspired by a visit I had this week in Brooklyn. So, welcome to Love It or Lose It, Bodega Sandwich Edition.
Okay. Oh, let's explain. We got to do Love It or Lose It every time just in case we have new listeners.
Yes.
All right,
correct.
so Love It or Lose It. We have 4 choices. Out of the 4 choices that are chosen, usually only one person knows what the choices are. This time, Kristin knows the choices.
Mm-hmm.
And she will give
Did I know them last time too?
Yes.
Okay.
She'll give you 4 choices, and I have to choose one I will lose and throw away and everything that comes attached to it, and one that I will love.
Word.
All right. So, go ahead, please.
Okay. So, Deli Sandwich Edition. This is for the New Yorkers. If you're from not New York, you may not relate to this as deeply as we do, but
Mad Regional Podcast.
Yes. So here in New York, we spend a lot of time at the bodegas, especially those of us who live in the 5 boroughs. Queens, stand up. Brooklyn, stand up. I'm a Long Islander now, but I'm coming back to you, God willing. So bodegas, where you go and order a bacon, egg, and cheese, salt, pepper, ketchup. That is one word, and you say it just like that. There's no pause. There's no bacon, egg, and cheese, salt, pepper, ketchup. That's how you say it. Okay, when you order. So if you ever come to New York and you want to try one of these things, practice what I just said because it'll make you not sound like a foreigner when you come. I grew up. Well, not grew up. I'm a liar. When I was in high school, I spent a lot of time at the bodegas ordering the very same bacon, egg, and cheese, salt, pepper, ketchup. Within Arizona, that is a true New York Negroes breakfast. Ask about it. We don't get orange juice. We get Arizonas. I don't make the news. I just report it. For lunch, if you're feeling fancy, you get you a little, turkey on a roll or on a hero if you want to share with a friend, whatever. So this week I was in Brooklyn, and I was like, oh, there's a real bodega over here. Let me go in. And so I did. So all the New York people here will be familiar with the 4 bodega sandwiches I'm about to name. These are all hard choices. I haven't chosen a number one myself, but we're going to go with it. So, New York bodega sandwiches. Love it or lose it. Turkey and cheese, your choice of cheese with all the fixins.
I guess your choice of turkey also.
Your choice of turkey, yeah. It can be honey glazed, pepper turkey,
yeah.
Any of the turkeys your heart desires. With cheese, lettuce, tomato, mayo, onions, whatever you want to put on there. Chicken cutlet. You can do that with cheese, without cheese. I ate one of those yesterday, as a matter of fact. lettuce, tomato, the whole works, however you want to get it set up. Chopped cheese with your choice of cheese and all the accoutrements mentioned before, or a Philly cheese. So those are your 4 options for love it or lose it.
It's weird that we're choosing Philly cheese for the New York bodegas, but it's cool.
But they be selling them over there.
No, I don't, but
they do.
It just sounds funny.
I know. Philly cheese be just out here everywhere. It'd be like, it's from Philly though, but like, okay. But it is a New York bodega specialty.
It is.
So that's why I chose to add it to the list. So yeah, our 4 love it or lose it choices. What would you love? What would you lose? The any turkey and cheese with the fixins, the chicken cutlet with the fixins, the chopped cheese with the fixins, or the Philly cheese with what comes on Philly cheese, like besides cheese. It's usually onions, peppers. Yeah, I'm just trying to think. Yeah, so those are the choices.
If you're gonna say chicken cutlet might be my lose.
Okay, tell me more.
I think that's the one I want the least because chicken cutlet is usually a frozen chicken cutlet.
Mm-hmm.
It's usually a frozen chicken cutlet that they have to come and take out, and then it's not really like cooked
on
the stove.
Right,
like
I understand.
Like the other things are.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think chicken cutlet might be the one I would throw away. Like, I think chicken cutlet is good. I'm not taking it away. But
I feel like I've started eating chicken cutlet because of you. Because I don't feel like that was the thing that I really was into before.
You might have. But out of those 4, I think I choose chicken cutlet just to pick something different.
Okay. Gotcha.
Because, like, I don't like getting into the same thing all the time.
So when you feel like you want to spice it up,
yeah,
chicken cutlet is your go-to. Okay. That's fine.
Because I think I get grilled chicken more than I get chicken cutlet.
That's true, too. You are more of a grilled chicken. So I think I get excited when you actually want to get the fried chicken. I'm like, look at him with the fried chicken. Look at him.
Yeah. So chicken cutlet, I think I don't think it tastes as good as the others.
Okay.
And I wouldn't choose that over the others.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
To be honest.
For me, I think my lose it is probably going to be the turkey and cheese. I'm not...
You never choose turkey and cheese.
Like, I used to go... You know what it is? When I was in high school and, like, college, I used to get them all the time.
I got them in high school, too.
All the time. Like, turkey and cheese, because that was back when, like, a roll was, like, $3.
Yeah.
So, like, and the Yemeni guy at the bodega I used to go to in Queens, like, used to hook it up. Like, the way he used to make that sandwich, like, just... He would put the oil and vinegar on it, and, oh, my God, it used to be so good. But it's like, these days, that's not my go-to. And you know what it is? I think I'm not really, like, a cold sandwich person anymore.
Well, I've had it both ways. Like, I remember the place by my job, they used to like chop up the turkey with the cheese, melted cheese on top, and like they sometimes put peppers inside of it. So
that was jazzy.
So okay. I've had both.
Yeah, and I think the one I got you the other day, the guy like asked me did I want it hot, and I said yeah. But yeah, I'm like most of the time, like a lot of these places, like they make it cold, and I'm like I'm not really a cold sandwich person, so I'll eat it if like that's what there is. And you know what it is too? I think like when I was pregnant, I couldn't really have cold cuts. So like I think my taste for cold cuts just died in general. So yeah, the turkey and the cheese would probably be what I would have to lose. I'll still eat it, but if I had to make a choice out of these 4, like the turkey and cheese would probably have to exit stage left. Which I mean, it says more about me and my health choices than anything else that I would throw away the turkey and cheese. And like, am I getting rid of the turkey and cheese because I don't like health or? Because all these other things are very high calorie, very fatty. Like the turkey and cheese is actually like the healthiest option here. So I don't know if I need to judge myself and my choices because I'm choosing to get rid of the turkey and cheese. But yeah, buy turkey and cheese. That's where we are.
That's sad.
What's sad?
Get rid of the turkey and cheese.
Well, I mean, come on. You know me.
Yes.
You know me. So what's your love it? What's your love it of the choices?
I've been trying to figure it out.
Okay, you're trying to think about it?
As you were talking. What is my go-to out of those? I'm split between the turkey and cheese and the Philly cheese. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think I've had less. I guess my mindset is I've had less bad. Not bad. Every turkey and cheese I've had, I've liked.
Okay. Okay.
I made it up.
I was waiting for you to move on. You were like, so I don't know if you really believe what you said.
No, I made it up.
You lie. You lie. Sorry.
I don't know.
I am too.
I'm trying to figure it out.
Okay. What has you on the fence?
Because I really like turkey and cheese, and I really like Philly cheese, and like.
But like Philly cheese with the chicken, or Philly cheese with the
either one.
Okay.
But for Philly cheese, I need to be in the mood for it.
Okay.
I can have turkey and cheese at all times.
Okay.
It's my go-to, but it doesn't mean that it's better.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. I see the conflict.
Yeah, because like Philly cheese is like I can't have Philly cheese all the time. It's just it's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot of food, and you're not like a meat eater, so it's not really a thing. Whatever was happening there was frightening me. I'm sorry. Like out the corner of my eye, I just saw something glowing and unglowing. I'm like, what is that?
But I think Philly cheese I just can't have all the time. But if your question is what is, I can't.
Just make a choice. This is nobody's life or death is hanging on a thread here.
I know. If the question is love it, hold on to it, never let it go, it's going to be turkey and cheese. I guess I'll say it that way. Because that's what I can have all the time.
Okay. All right.
But I will say a fantastic Philly cheese is better than a fantastic turkey and cheese.
Okay. That's valid. That's valid.
Like the best Philly cheese I've had is better than my best turkey and cheese. But turkey and cheese is my tried and true. Okay.
That's your go-to. You know that's always going to work for you.
That is my tried and true.
Yeah. Because not all Philly cheeses are created equal.
Correct.
Yeah. I've had some that are just like, sir, this is just, please don't do this. So, yeah, I understand. All right. My love it. I'm going back and forth between a chopped cheese and the chicken cutlet.
Okay.
The chicken cutlet, I like it because there's a little crunch and texture to the skin of the breaded chicken, even though I know it's like frozen and it came out of a ShopRite freezer somewhere.
Not a ShopRite freezer.
It's completely possible. Or a BJ's freezer or Costco. It came out of a freezer. That's really it. But I like the combo of it with I don't like fried chicken with cheese on it, by the way. Like, I think that's disgusting. And if you like that, something's wrong with you. You heard it here first. But I do like it from the deli with lettuce and tomato and a little bit of mayo and salt and pepper. Like that combination and the crunch of the chicken makes me very happy. However, I am a red meat eater through and through. And a chopped cheese. For those who don't know what a chopped cheese is, it's basically a chopped up cheeseburger with the fixins. I gotta stop saying fixins. But it makes me, I don't know, it's not, I realize how many times I've said it in the course of this podcast. And I'm like, maybe, I'm not country, I promise. I just like the term fixins for some reason. It makes me happy.
Just say sides.
Yes, but it's not even sides. It's the accompaniments.
The accompaniments?
Yes.
Okay.
But how long? That's why I went to fixin', because accompaniments is really long.
Accompaniment tracks.
Get out. Yeah, I had one the other day. I should have told the guy not American cheese, because that was not the greatest. But I didn't think about it until he had started making it. I was like, oh.
Yeah, with delis, if you don't say cheese, they automatically assume American.
Yeah. And I should have told him what cheese I wanted. Because when I asked him for your sandwich, I asked for provolone. And so I guess I assumed that I communicated that to him, but I did not. So it had American cheese on it. So it didn't really hit the way I wanted it to hit, because it's American cheese. But that being said, it was really delicious. And chopped cheeses seem to be a Burroughs thing and not a Long Island thing. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was.
You can get it at certain places.
You can get it at certain places, but not every Long Island deli has chopped cheeses.
Correct.
But basically, like I said, it's a chopped up cheeseburger, and they do lettuce, tomato, onions, ketchup, whatever you want to put on it, really, like how you would make a burger. So that's where I am. So I think the chopped cheese is my love it.
Okay.
Because I do enjoy a burger, and but I don't sometimes like eating a burger and having all the mess. But when they make a chopped cheese, they kind of like bring it all together, so it's not as messy. It's like sloppy Joe, but not a sloppy Joe. It's just like
I do like a sloppy Joe.
I do not. I don't like messy things. I don't like sandwiches that have a lot of drippings, and I don't
drippings.
Like it. Yeah, I don't like it. It doesn't. That's probably where Avery gets it from with the not liking food everywhere, because I don't like that either. I'm like, get it out of here. So yeah, I think the chopped cheese is my number. It's just so good. Like it just I can't explain it. But just to have like that combination of like meat and cheese and like lettuce, tomato, and all that stuff just in one bite, just because I feel like with a burger sometimes, depending on the size of the patty versus the ratio of the bread, then with you don't get the same thing every bite.
Okay.
With the chopped cheese, I feel like I get all of the things at once in one bite, and it makes me very happy.
Okay.
So my choice is chopped cheese. I was going back and forth between that and the Philly cheese, but Philly cheese is one of those things I got to be in the mood to eat too, like you said. Like, I don't always want that. Like, I can go in a deli and see Philly cheese and be like, never mind, what else y'all got? Like, I don't always want that. So, yeah.
Philly cheese is good, but like all the time, it'd be sitting on your stomach for like
years.
It sits on your stomach for a long time.
Yeah.
It's
not a light meal.
No, not at all.
No. Because I ate that chopped cheese and I was like, oh, okay, I'm full, but I'm not like gonna die now.
Yeah.
I don't need to take a nap now because I ate this. So yeah, chopped cheese for the win.
I'm rocking.
For the win.
I am rocking.
Yes. It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Word.
It's Christmas time in Hollis, Queens. Grandma's cooking something in collard greens. What?
Pull it together.
Sorry, I couldn't remember it. I blanked in the moment.
Pull it together.
Gosh, I feel very judged in this moment. And I don't like it at all. But whatever. We're moving on. What do we got next on the docket?
On the docket, we have our topic.
Our topic. So, our topic for today, I don't really have real words for it because, like, what I wrote down isn't, like, real. It was just, thoughts. But I think I want to frame it in such a way that it doesn't necessarily make us feel like we have a responsibility, so to speak, but just, to kind of help us keep our eyes open. So the topic, quote unquote, for today is like being able to like spot abuse in interpersonal relationships with people. And the reason this came up, I'm going to give a little backstory without giving too much detail or too much name. So on social media we talked about last week, there's a lot of things that are on there. And, it's useful in a lot of ways. And so maybe like a week or two ago, I was on the social medias, minding other people's business like I usually do when I'm on there. And it's not minding my own. Like, what's the point? I could just not be on there. But yes, I was on the social media, trying to distract myself, minding other people's business. And I saw a post from somebody that I used to know. It's not a beef or anything like that. It's just that, we worked together on something. And then once that was over, the relationship kind of like separated. But not like on bad terms or anything like that. Just like, we don't move in the same circles anymore, so we don't see each other. But this person posted like a story. I don't know if story is the right word, but they posted on their social media about...
It was like a cry out.
Yeah, it was a cry for help, yes. On their social media about abuse that they had been facing for years at the hands of a family member. And the story, first of all, was really sad and just crazy. But it also was shocking to me because I had never even considered that this dynamic may be taking place while I was around this individual. And I was around this individual.
Around all of them.
Around all the people that were named in this story. I was around all of them for months. I want to say like at least 6 months, where we were all in close contact. So, when I saw the story, I was genuinely like surprised. And, the alleged perpetrator of the abuse is someone that is, I don't want to say too much and give away, but like it's somebody that, is in a position of authority, so to speak, and not someone that you think would be doing something like, or not someone that you would expect based on
they're a religious leader.
They're a religious leader.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't think that a religious leader would be doing. And I don't know if that's naive of me to think that, because I know that just because someone's a religious leader doesn't mean that they're not a human being capable of having faults and whatever. But, something about it just really shocked me. I didn't have any idea. I was genuinely flabbergasted.
I think I was shocked because of that. Because I've had conversations with him, and and in my mind, they seem very they didn't seem aggressive to me. Right. They didn't seem very aggressive to me, and usually I can point out people who seem very aggressive, but they didn't seem aggressive, so it threw me off a lot. When I know the people too. We were all together,
right,
collaborating. So this story kind of threw me off because like after you hear about it, then you try to go back like, oh, maybe this, maybe that, but it's kind of hard to point out before sometimes. And I was having a conversation, and I was thinking, I think the big issue is that when we might see certain signs, but if they're not very overt in terms of like screaming or pushing or things like that, we might just be like, oh, this person might just be having a bad day, or we don't count it as counting as abuse, and everything, because we don't want to put somebody in a box that they're not in. So we're trying to we give a lot of people the benefit of the doubt when it comes down to abuse. Right. So and especially if we don't see it doesn't seem like the person is covering up or anything. It just like I said, of course, after the fact, we realize a lot of things. We notice oh, maybe that's why their interactions were this way, right, and everything, and it's stuff like that. But it just, I don't know. Should we now go into things automatically assuming people in abusive relationships and just and just try to find the signs? It's hard to gauge it that way,
right? Because like you said, looking back, after reading what the person wrote. And looking back, I was there was some there would be times, because I'm very much an energy person, and I can walk into a room and know that and feel something just jumped off before I got in here, just based off of the energy in the room, and it's I remember feeling there were a couple of times where we were around them and it kind of felt strange, but I didn't really know what it was,
but it could just be an argument,
and it could just be an argument. So I'm just oh, maybe there was a heated discussion before I got in here,
which people go to,
which people do all the time.
So it's it doesn't mean that it's abuse,
right? And so it's just it wasn't that I felt that even if I had seen it, that I could have done something to prevent it, because that's a family situation that I'm not a part of, so I don't have any kind of say in it. But I just kind of felt well, dang, maybe, who knows? I'm now replaying conversations in my head. Maybe those were subtle cries for help, certain things that were being said, but I wasn't catching it because I wasn't thinking that was the dynamic that was going on behind closed doors. So, I guess. Are there ways to spot it really? And because like you said, there's a thin line between, oh, it was just an argument, and oh, it's something bigger than that. How do you address that when you see it? Because it's I feel once you see it, you can't ignore it. Although I get the reasons for ignoring it, because we've heard stories of people who have intervened in like domestic violence situations and like they've been hurt or killed for getting involved. So you don't want to kind of put yourself in danger by involving yourself, but it's like,
but even in the story where like they try to get addressed and like the person goes back,
right,
or like they don't want to be saved,
right,
you know
right,
what I'm saying? So like it's hard to address with that, because even in terms of law, unless the person comes forward, nothing can really happen.
Right, and
or you can, but at least if you can like keep talking to them and try to keep encouraging them away from it.
Right.
If you don't know, then it's like I've in my mind, it seems like the person could be crying out for help and you would never hear it because you don't even know what language they're talking.
Right.
And I think that that becomes my worry.
Right.
Is that someone's trying to scream and tell me.
Right.
But I can't. I'm so oblivious that
right.
I'm not listening to the language they're trying to tell me.
Right.
And I think that that bothers me.
Agreed. Me too. And so I wonder, like, what things can we do to become more aware, I guess? Because I think part of it is because that's not something that we've experienced, like, at that level or in that level of intensity before. It's just like, what do you, like, we can't even imagine, like, what that looks like or what a cry for help would look like. Because to us it might look like, oh, this person is just, they wilding, they're overreacting, they're whatever. But little do we know that what we're seeing is the manifestation of a year of XYZ abuse going on. So it's like, how do we, as people who aren't familiar with that particular dynamic, become more familiar? Like, I don't know.
What's interesting is I think that somehow we can figure it out, because like I've seen that happen. I forgot who it was, but it was someone else I know. What I found out later was getting abused, and I remember having the same thought about certain things.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's just our mind telling us it can't be that it can't be
right.
like that, because like I said, we give people the benefit of the doubt,
right,
based off that. But I think we just have to be mindful and just keep watching to see what's going on. And like I think, and I said, I think as humans, sometimes we just have to be mindful and just, like I said, not to just confront them,
mm-hmm.
but just to understand. Sometimes you want to, if they are crying out, you want to be able to hear them,
right,
and everything. You want to be able to hear what they're saying,
mm-hmm.
and hear their concerns,
right.
When they have them, and when they're ready to go, they want someone to believe them,
right. Right.
So like I think that I think I'm not saying get really into someone else's relationship,
right,
but just be mindful of how people interact in their relationship,
right,
because like I think what it is especially when people are a lot older,
mm-hmm.
I don't pay attention too much to their interactions as a couple,
mm-hmm.
as much,
right,
and I think maybe it's because like sometimes I feel as if like people in relationships for a long time, sometimes they're just not as close as they used to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And like not in like I want to get divorced now, but just like they're just not as affectionate.
Like their relationship has evolved, over 20, 30 years.
To something different.
Right.
So like that's also where I'm kind of am.
Right.
So I think that's part of it too.
Right. Yeah.
So like, and like some like it makes me also think like I had to start like rethinking like a lot of my friends who are in relationships,
mm-hmm.
and like interact and watching how they interact with their
mm-hmm.
spouses,
mm-hmm.
to make sure but like even with there's still no way to know,
right,
and you don't want to like introduce that.
right
conversation.
Right, because like you don't. It's one of those things where it's like, if you see it or you have a feeling about it, it's like you don't know how to, or if you even should broach the topic, because like, if a person's not ready to kind of talk about that or address that situation, you bringing it up, even in a, super gentle way, can cause that person to like retreat further away from you, so that you can't, intervene or help in any way should you need to. And then the other thing too is that you don't want to bring it up and be wrong.
Correct.
In terms of what you're saying, because now you've just damaged a relationship with someone, because now they're like, oh, this person looks at me this way and thinks that I'm this.
Correct.
And that's not really what's going
especially
on.
if you're friends with both parties, so now you think that I'm abusive.
Right. And now it's like, oh, your friend don't like me, our friend don't like me, or they think whatever, and it's just like none of so it's just like it's a really like delicate dance, because like you want to be a good friend, you want to be there, you want to support, you want to do whatever, but you don't want to like overstep your bounds and insert yourself in something that you don't really know the full story about. It's like, I feel like it almost has to be to the point where it's like either super obvious, or the person experiencing the abuse like flat out tells you this is what's happening. Because even if you see something, and it's like, I feel like there are some friends I have where I know I could probably say something like very candidly to them if I saw something that I was concerned about. But like, I know there are other people in my life, like I can't just be like, oh, what's up with that? And so it's like, do I like, what do I do? Like, do I just kind of sit there and like watch it happen and kind of wait for it to like happen in front of me, or do I interject? But then at the same time, I have to say to myself, like, I'm not the only friends this person has. This person also has family or other stuff. So somebody else out there, at least one person out there, I hope in their sphere of influence knows. Not to say I'm trying to like pass the buck, but I'm like, I'm hoping that even if I'm not in a position for whatever reason to say something or do something, that there's somebody else in their life that sees the same thing. And I'm sure if I had a friend or a family member where it was like real obvious that something was going on, but they weren't saying anything, I would probably try to like connect with somebody else that I know they know, like a mutual friend or family member, and be like, so I've noticed X, Y, Z. Have you noticed? And maybe, try to band together and maybe approach the person that way. Not on some like, we're trying to gang up on you, but like, we both noticed blah, blah, blah. But it's still a slippery slope. And I feel like kind of no matter how you slice it, like you really run the risk of either ruining or like seriously damaging, at the very least, your relationship with a friend, or losing a friend altogether because of that situation, and feeling like you need to say something or step in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was thinking also, like, you want to I guess this can also be for people in relationships. Always be mindful of where your relationship is also.
Mm-hmm.
Be mindful of how strained it is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how. That's not easy. It's not an easy thing to say.
Okay.
But just because like sometimes we just might be seeing before the breaking point also.
Right.
But like once again, people never think it would be them
mm-hmm.
or someone that they know.
Right.
That's just how we are operating, which is
where I think the surprise when we read the story came from. Because like, what?
Yeah, people would never assume it's somebody that they know,
mm-hmm.
or it would be them.
Right.
So like, even if like there's like red flashing lights, things flashing and everything. People were like, yeah, but it would not be, like, no matter what's going on, it would never get that far.
Absolutely, 100%.
So I think that more so than us looking from the outside in, be mindful of signs in your own relationship. I'll say that. Just be mindful of the build up to get to that point. All right. I'm not saying, hey, might want to leave them. That's not what I'm saying. But you might want to have conversations. Maybe just counseling. Maybe it might just be time for counseling before it escalates to that point.
Yeah.
And everything. I don't know if it's a good idea to say like, oh, you might be abusive. That's not a good idea either.
Right, that's not a good lead in to the conversation.
Yeah. As you see, we're kind of struggling trying to figure out, because it's a weird topic to how do you address it in different ways. But like I think that maybe ways to get around it is to just, if you see any signs, even though you like, oh, it will never happen, just like, let's just go to counseling to figure out where we are.
Right.
And everything.
Right. And to me, I don't feel like we're big proponents of counseling here at the All Love No Fear podcast. Absolutely, I feel like if you feel like you're heading down that road, and you kind of want to like put the brakes on it before it gets any further. Like, I definitely agree with what Mark said about going to counseling. I do think though, the counseling piece only works if both people agree to go.
Correct.
Because it's great that you go for like separate counseling on your own, but like, I feel like the challenge becomes even greater when, if you feel this way, that, the relationship is going in a way that you feel is alarming and could lead to a domestic violence type of situation, but the other person doesn't feel that way, like, I don't want to say you're going to counseling in vain, because I feel like any counseling is helping you work on yourself and being a better version of you. But like, I don't know how effective it can be in addressing that particular interpersonal relationship issue if the other person isn't willing to join the counseling conversation. You know what I mean? So, it's just a really delicate and complicated situation. Hopefully going to the individual counseling can help the person kind of figure out
who they are,
and
what they want to do for themselves.
Yeah.
I think
maybe figure out ways to deal with their partner based on what they're sharing with the counselor, but
correct.
It's not the same as the person being there. So I feel like its effectiveness is there, but it's not necessarily what it could be.
Yeah, I always think both counseling is important. Counseling for yourself and counseling for the relationship or the marriage. I think both are always important, but both need to happen. Like I said, individually, to find out what you are, what your thoughts are, put your thoughts together, and figure out how that works. But also how the dynamic of the relationship interacts and how that works out.
Right.
So I think both are important.
Right. And then, I was just thinking, the other challenge too, that is related to this particular situation that we brought up that kind of discussed this topic, is the religious aspect of it.
Yes.
Because a lot of times, Christians have very specific like beliefs and thought processes about certain things when it comes to marriage. And there are a lot of people who legitimately believe that being divorced is a sin. And so they will stay in these types of abusive situations because they feel like, if I get a divorce, God will be mad at me. Or people who know about the abuse but don't say anything for fear that if they expose the person's abuse, God will be mad at them. And I'm just like, again, gosh. Christianity needs a public relations representative to fix it. Because if someone is in a situation where they are being harmed, they are being beaten, they are being abused emotionally, financially, in any kind of way, and they believe that the God of the religion they practice wants them to stay in a situation where they are being harmed, they have been taught wrong, they have been doing it wrong, and it's all around wrong. Because I don't believe that the God that I serve, the Jesus that died on the cross for me, wants me to stay in a situation where I'm being harmed, because I believe he called me to have life and have it more abundantly, and being beaten to within an inch of my life is not that. And the fact that people around the situation who are also like Christians are indoctrinated to believe, touch not thy anointed, which is something that people twist terribly. They believe that. So they believe that if they call out this religious leader for abuse, that God is going to punish them, when it's like, you're actually doing the right thing by calling this person out and bringing attention to this and making sure that this person doesn't do this ever again to somebody. But like, it's been twisted so much. The Christianity, the word, the religion has been twisted so much that you believe that to call something like that out is wrong. And that's my mind is blown, because that was one of the things in that whole thing that we mentioned at the beginning that blew my mind, is that the person felt like if I said something, God was going to get me.
I was like when they were like,
what?
Like they were saying like, oh, I didn't want to report it to police because I don't want God to get mad at me for talking bad about the man of God. And I was like,
the minute the hands were laid, the man of God thing got compromised. I'm sorry.
I was like, what do you? I don't understand. What? Which is crazy, because like the person is trying to expose, but they're still caught up in the nonsense of what's going on. Cause like, and it's still fear of, I'm saying this, but maybe I shouldn't be.
Yeah. Because
God's gonna be mad at me for saying this.
No.
Because this is a religious leader, and that was insane.
That type of like mindset though frightens me, because it's like, how many religious leaders are there out there? Not just Christians, but in all religious groups. How many religious leaders are out there who are abusing the respect and the power they have, and abusing people and getting away with it because they're teaching people this? If you speak against the religious leader, you're speaking against God. I'm like, that is a conundrum that I will just never comprehend.
That whole thing was insane.
Like, when the person said that, I said, what? All of this was going on. The abuse is happening to you and other people in your household. And your first thought is, if I speak against the man of God, God is going to do something harmful to me. Like, that is really, really, really perverted teaching of Christianity. And that type of stuff just burns me to no end. Like, this is wildness. Like, just because you're a preacher or an elder or whatever it is, it doesn't exempt you from being a decent human being. Like, you don't get to just treat people any old kind of way you want and do whatever you want under the covering of, well, I'm a man of God, I'm a woman of God. No, you're still a person living on this earth under the rule of God who's expected to live right. So I don't know how you can call yourself a man or a woman of God and be actively, intentionally harming God's people and feeling like God has got you covered somehow because you're a preacher. Like, I just don't understand. The whole thing is very convoluted and crazy. And I felt crazy. So terrible for the person that was their mindset.
I was like, what's happening?
I was like, oh my God. So it's like, they must have come to a breaking point to where they just couldn't take it anymore. I had to say something, but it's like, how long did you hold that mindset? And how much sooner could this situation have possibly been stopped or addressed had that not been the mindset?
Correct.
But it's like, it's a thing. This is a thing that we don't talk about a lot in our churches. Like, and that whole situation kind of made me realize, like, how many people around me are dealing with this within the church, and I just don't know. And a lot of us have this harmful belief system that God is going to be mad at me if I leave this person who's abusing me, or God's going to be mad at me if I speak out against this person. And it's like, God doesn't want this for you. I'm not God, but I dare I say he doesn't want this for you. He doesn't want you to be being treated poorly by another person. Like he doesn't want that for you, and you don't deserve that. So I do honestly feel like this is something that the church needs to talk about more, because I feel like it's not discussed enough. Like, we'll acknowledge Domestic Violence Month. We might do a little program here or there, but like, we need to be talking about this on a larger scale than we do, because it's like so prevalent. But I mean, I guess to talk about it on a larger scale, it would require that the pastors of churches stop abusing people. But there it is. But for real, it's like, it's such a problem. And it's just like the mindsets that some people have been conditioned to have about it. It's just so harmful. And it makes it even that much more challenging to address, because the person being abused, they're also still being indoctrinated with this speak not against the anointed, touch not the anointed, whatever. And so they're like almost being forced to be complicit in their own abuse cycle. Mm-hmm. And it's like, how do you unpack that? Like, especially if you're a person that has like grown up in church and that's like all you know, and this is just like the dogma, that you've been taught your whole life. Like, how do you separate that from like the reality of this person is beating me to within an inch of my life on a regular basis, and make the necessary adjustments to exit that situation as much as you possibly can. But it's like, we have so many like jacked up thought processes about stuff, and it just holds us in bondage. Because to me, being in an abusive relationship is bondage.
Yeah.
And feeling like God doesn't want you to break up, to leave this person because you're breaking up a marriage, or God doesn't want you to report this abuse to the police because you're bringing down a man of God. Girl, ma'am, sis, no. None of that is real. None of that is real. Like I just don't understand how you can praise a God who you think loves you and cares for you, but also think that God wants you to be in that situation. Like, I'm confused. This seems very confusing. So, yeah, but this is definitely one of those things where I'm like, we spend a lot of time talking about a lot of other things as a faith community, but this is one of the things that we need to be talking about because it's so prevalent. And people will twist the Bible and scripture to justify so many things.
And like they'll even use to submit to husbands. They use a lot of things just to explain, show that how abuse is okay.
Right. And I'm just like, no. All of this is wrong. All of this is crazy and wrong. But it's like, it's been taught for so long. It's like, where do we begin to unpack it? And I think it starts with stuff like this, like saying it out loud in places where it will be heard by other people. I hope that, no, this is not cool. This is not okay. This is not an acceptable thing. And to me, I feel like God is more mad at the man or woman of God who is perverting his word by trying to justify abuse than you sitting there and taking it because you believe that God will be mad. And don't take this as a victim blaming. Nobody's victim blaming. That's not what I'm saying here. But it's just like, I'm just saying the things that some of the victims have been taught is so warped and twisted that it has messed up their view of like what's really happening to them and how harmful it really is.
Yeah.
And it's not their fault. It's literally just, this is what they've been taught. This is what they believe, and they've never considered another perspective might make more sense and might be better. And there's nothing inherently wrong with that. That's just life. We've all been raised certain ways, been raised to think certain ways and to do certain things. And a lot of times it's not until we're like at a crossroads in life that we actually stop and think, wait, maybe what I've been taught to do or think or say or whatever actually doesn't make any sense or isn't right or doesn't agree with what I fundamentally believe. And so, like, the person that we were talking about in the situation, I hope they get there and they realize that this is not a way to live that God is happy with. But at the same time, I'm not going to judge them because, like, I don't know their whole life. I don't know their whole story. I don't know the full dynamic of what's going on. But, like, you know, I just hope that they will see that God wants more for them.
Correct.
Than this. Yeah.
All right. We gotta move on now.
We gotta move on. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. So we would definitely love to hear your thoughts on this topic if you have any. So definitely please email us, allofnofairpcast@gmail.com. Comment on the YouTube video, right under our Instagram post when we post the episode for the week and stuff like that. Because I think this is an important topic and an important conversation that can definitely continue. And, you know, there are far more brilliant minds than us that listen to this podcast. So hopefully folks can offer some insights and some perspectives that can kind of help move the conversation forward.
Word.
What's next on our agenda?
Artist Spotlight.
Artist Spotlight. So last week we spotlighted a word. I should know. I have degrees in English. I should know these things. But whatever.
Kiki Wyatt.
Huh?
Kiki Wyatt last week.
Yes, Kiki Wyatt was our spotlight last week. What did I want to say? Some of our listeners were unimpressed with the song that we played. I personally love that song. I think it's beautiful. But like I said, Kiki Wyatt can really sing, so go on the internets and look her up. She be singing. The person I want to highlight this week, some of you, well, most of you, if you've been alive, know her from Destiny's Child. I
have a funny story.
Go ahead.
No, I'll wait till after. I want to give her segment, and then we'll talk after.
Yes. So, she is none other than Calendria Trinae Rowland, also known as Kelly Rowland. She has been my favorite member of Destiny's Child since the jump. Like, I've always been like, no shade to B, but Kelly has always been my favorite one in the various iterations of the group. She's the only one that lasted in the group in all those iterations, if you be honest. Whatever. But Kelly is an Aquarius like me and a February Aquarius, so shout out to us. We're here. Aquarius season is coming, by the way. Ask about us. She
like a time. Just relax.
Not really.
It's enough time.
No, it's like Sag season right now, I think. And then it's going to be, or is it still Scorpios? I don't know. No, it is Sag season. And then it's going to be Capricorn and then us. So it's time. It's coming. Like Game of Thrones. Winter is coming. Aquarius season is coming. It's coming. So Calendria Trinae Rowland, born on February 11th, 1981. Singer-songwriter, just talent overall. She was part of Destiny's Child. Well, is, I guess, part of Destiny's Child. She's put out some albums over the years. She did Dilemma with Nelly, and if you were in early 2000s, that's back when Nelly was wearing the Band-Aid under his eye, and Kelly had the short, like, spiky cut. It was pretty lit. She had another song called Stole. It was a real sad song, but it was real nice nonetheless. And she's put out some music over the years. I love Kelly Rowland's voice. Like, if you ever watch a performance of Destiny's Child, I think the one when they were singing the national anthem at the All-Star game, like back in like 05 or 06, Calendria is my type of singer, because when Calendria comes in, she comes in like a choir, okay? Beyonce was singing the alto part. What's the girl name? Michelle was singing the tenor part. And Kelly came in with that soprano note and sounded like 5 people. I said, come on, Calendria. I want her to want to do music as much as I want her to do music. But, like, she's out here, like, she's doing the Fabletics. She's doing, she just had a Christmas movie on Hallmark or Lifetime. She's been on, what's that show, America's Got Talent? No, not America's Got Talent, X Factor. She had a show on BET back in, like, 2017 where they were looking for a new girl group. So she's very active. She's just not, like, hardcore putting albums out. And I guess she feels like I make money from the Destiny's Child royalties for the rest of my life. I don't have to do any of these other things, despite what people like me, i.e. her fans, want her to do. So she's put out a few albums. Probably the song that most people know her for post Destiny's Child, besides Dilemma, is Motivation, that she did with Lil Wayne. I think that was back in that was a long time ago. I want to say maybe, Lord. Was it that long? Was it super long ago? It might have been 2011 when she did Motivation, because I remember she came out and performed at the BET Awards, and it was the performance of the night. It was see, this is why Kelly was part of Destiny's Child, because Kelly can dance and sing, and she don't be sounding out of breath like Chris Brown. I'm going to forever shade Christopher till the day I die. But I just think Kelly Rowland is just amazing. I don't know if she thinks she's as amazing as she is, but every time I hear her sing, I'm like, that chick has the vocals. Her voice is just, it's beautiful. It's crystal clear. There's no scratchiness, no rumble. It's just crystal clear. Every time I hear her sing, I think of really clean glass. It's just clear. You can see right through it. You can hear it. It's yes, this is a vibe. What was that song? She had a little song with Eve back in 2013, I want to say. I told y'all I was going to bump like this. Y'all did. She just makes really cute little songs. And I just think she is just gorgeous. She has a sweet personality. Her little son is super cute. So yeah, get into Kelly Rowland. She is really a very underrated singer in my opinion. But if you see videos of her back in the day, with Destiny's Child and them singing live, her voice is amazing. I know people focus on Beyonce because she's the star of the show or whatever, but Kelly is really, really very, very talented in her own right. I just want her to put more music out, because she be taking a million years between albums. I'm are you gonna put music out? She'll drop a little song here or there, oh, I've got a single, I've got a single. Kelly, where is the body of work? Where's the album, ma'am? We don't have time. Stop playing with us. So I want her to put an album out. But I just love her. Everything about her. She's amazing. She sings down. Get into her. Just get on the YouTubes. YouTube has things where you can find where she's singing, but her voice is amazing. What is it? Emotions. A lot of them high notes at the end, that's Kelly. You might have thought it was B, but it was Kelly. It's Kelly. She's singing. No shade. But yeah, Kelly Rowland, Artist Spotlight of the Week. Get into it.
Ding, ding, ding.
Ding, ding,
Artist
ding.
Spotlight.
Wow, all of these songs. Okay.
Artist Spotlight.
OMG.
All right.
Wow.
We was both laughing because one of my students came, and I was talking about Rihanna to my student, and I was like, yeah, she's popular. She has a Navy, and she has the Hive or everything, right? And she was saying yeah, but I think Kelly Rowland is better, because and I was like, but they have they're kind of different. Mm-hmm. In terms of,
I've never heard a Rihanna Kelly Rowland comparison in my life. So tell me more. Correct. I'm Rihanna. What the hell she got to do with this conversation? Huh?
She was I was yeah, but Kelly Rowland is different. People, I was saying people like Rihanna because she's down to earth. Mm-hmm. It's because even if she might not think she might not be really, regardless if she is or not, mm-hmm. she appears that way. She appears like she's very regular. Mm-hmm. She doesn't care about the spotlight. She doesn't care about anything. She just does what she wants, and that's why people like her. Mm-hmm. So people like that about her more than anything else,
right?
Regardless of what you think about her talent, but that's why people like her. That's why there is the Navies, because of that reason, because they like that,
right?
And I think we got into Teyana Taylor, and I
almost had her as the Artist Spotlight of the Week. I might do it next week because I think that girl is crazy talented.
Yeah, and we talked about Teyana Taylor, and I was she was yeah, but I was Teyana Taylor could be in that lane.
She could be
in Rihanna, because she could be the next in that lane. Mm-hmm. I was but Rihanna's been popular for longer.
Yeah, Rihanna's not getting off the throne. So
yeah, she's been popular for longer.
The rest of you girls are just gonna have to fight for second place.
But Teyana Taylor, she's getting up there because she does acting. She does a lot of things.
Yeah, Teyana Taylor's an incredibly gifted actor, singer, producer, video director. She is. Yeah. She's very, very talented.
So she can get in that lane. She's in that same lane of people feel like they can relate to her.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like I would respect Teyana Taylor's relation to Rihanna more than Kelly
I'm
Rowland.
like, Rihanna and Kelly are not in the same league.
Correct.
Like,
It's not the same thing at all.
Yeah, I'm a card-carrying member of the Navy. I've said that before. However, if we're talking vocals, I'm not going to sit here and act like Kelly Rowland is not the better singer and performer of the two of them.
Yeah,
I'm not going to do that.
But they're also different.
I'd be a whole lie if I sat up here and said Rihanna was a better vocalist or performer than Kelly. However, they're not. To me, they're not in the same realm.
And that's what I was trying to say. Like it's like when people try to put Rihanna and Beyonce. I was like, they really have the same audiences.
No, like their audiences are not
like
the same.
you have people who like both.
Yes.
But no one really likes them both the same.
Yeah.
Like because they have two different kinds of audiences.
Right.
They're going to have different people.
Right.
Because I think I made the comparison. People like Rihanna because they feel like they can see themselves in Rihanna and not Carrie.
Yeah.
People like Beyonce because they can't.
They can't be her.
They feel like they can't see themselves in her, and they feel like Beyonce is the mystique of Beyonce is what they like about Beyonce.
Right. Yeah.
They like the mystique of someone that they feel like they can't touch.
Right.
And which is the exact opposite of Rihanna.
Yes.
So their audiences are going to be different.
Like, because I feel like Rihanna is not very touchable, but she feels very touchable.
She seems like I can talk to her.
I'm a normal person.
Yeah.
Yes.
So those two are totally different in
Right.
terms of
Right.
why people like them. So it's very rare that you have someone who's part of both the Beehive and the Navy at the same time. Mm-hmm. It's very, very rare you see somebody.
Yeah. Tell your person not to say that ever again. Okay. Because when you said, I was
rare.
like,
Yeah, it's very rare.
I have never heard anybody make that type of comparison ever. Like, no, there is
Rowland,
no comparison between Kelly Rowland and Rihanna.
Yeah, it's a totally different audience.
Yeah, I'm like that's like you trying to compare like Mos Def and Jay-Z. What's the comparison?
Correct. Their audiences are different.
Right. Like, what's the comparison? What is there to talk about?
Correct.
Nothing.
The audiences are totally different.
Both wonderful rappers from Brooklyn, and that's about where the commonality stops. Like, I don't. What are we talking about?
Yeah, their audiences are totally different.
Right.
They don't have the
There's
same,
no crossover here.
Like the person who's a full Mos Def I guess Hive member is not going to be the same thing. Person who's like full force Jay-Z.
No, not at all.
It's not going to be the same.
Like, the commonality is that they're black and from Brooklyn and men. Like, that's where it stops.
Like, you can like them both, but you're not going to really like them the same both. Cause, like,
Right.
They have different audiences.
Absolutely. Like, my Rihanna, like, even with me, like, my Rihanna / love, well, I mean love because I am in the Navy. My love is based on, A, she's from Barbados, like me. B, I like the music she puts out. The girl knows how to make a hit or find someone who can write her one. And her persona and the way she presents herself, I like it. But then I also like Kelly Rowland because it brings me back to the high school teeny bopper days of, when they were doing, Bills, the independent women. And so, like, to me, it's like Kelly's almost someone I've grown up with in a way. So, like, my like of her is different than what it is with Rihanna. Because Rihanna came out, I think, when I was in, like, college, maybe. Like,
she probably got popular then,
yeah. So I'm like, Kelly was more of my like teenage years thing, while Rihanna is sort of like a contemporary to me in some ways.
Okay.
I think she's younger than me, actually. So it's like my reasons for liking them and my experiences with them are completely different. Like, they're both beautiful black women, but like that's about where the commonality stops. Yeah. So yeah, shouts to Kelly Rowland and Rihanna and Teyana Taylor and all.
Word.
The bad bees out there. I'm trying not to cuss because we got video now. You can't edit that out. Because there've been a few times I've cussed on here and Mark has been like,
it's hard to edit out, especially with the video. I have to edit both out.
Yeah, I'm like,
don't make me do that.
I'm trying to do that. I know. I'm trying. Sometimes it just comes out. I'm trying to work on doing better. So in terms of what else we want to talk about here at this pod today. So this one you put down on the list. So I don't know if you want to intro it.
Which one?
The Jim Carrey?
Yes. So, Jim Carrey has actually...
Also known as Ace Ventura. I was just watching those movies recently. That's why. They were all on TV like a couple of weeks ago and I sat and watched them all again.
I was like a very big Jim Carrey fan growing up. Very big. I used to watch. I've watched Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls, the second one, about 85 times. Like me and my cousins used to quote the entire movie from start to finish. Watching that movie as a teenager. Was it a teenager?
Or maybe like preteens.
Yeah, we have quoted that movie from start to finish and everything. I used to watch a lot of Jim Carrey movies and everything. He doesn't put out as much as he used to and everything, but
yeah, he really hasn't. When's the last time Jim Carrey was in a movie or did a movie?
Like he does them very sporadically now.
Yeah,
he's not in the spotlight as much as he was before, but like he used to be. For at one point it was like when he was in a movie, I'm going to see it because it's going to be funny and everything. I like Liar Liar.
Mask.
I'll
watch that movie over and over again.
I even like the one. I like the movie when he was. I like his serious movies too.
Oh, he's in Sonic the Hedgehog coming up.
Yeah, but I like the serious movies. And then the movie when he was trapped in that TV show.
Oh Lord, what was that one called? The Truman Show.
The Truman Show. That was good. Like so I like serious movies. Sunshine Stories of a Spotless Mind.
Sunshine Stories.
Is it Sunshine Stories?
Eternal Sunshine of the
Eternal
Spotless
Sunshine
Mind.
of a Spotless. Yeah, I was like, what is it called?
What is that?
You know what I'm talking about. Eternal Sunshine.
But the people.
Okay. Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind. His serious movie, so he's been good. This is all to say. He made a status. You have the status?
Hold on, let me find it.
But so he put his status up. I think it was on Twitter, where he said, he said, "Brilliant Black Minds has put him on In Living Color because that's where he started, and that's what kind of spiraled his career and everything. So In Living Color kind of jumpstarted his career, and when I saw that, I was like, oh, that's good.
Pay homage.
Yeah, pay homage. He understood that like he wasn't that popular until In Living Color. In Living Color got him into Ace Ventura, and Ace Ventura kind of started his big career. People saw him Ace Ventura and then put him in a bunch of movies from there.
Yeah.
Like I think after Ace Ventura was like Cable Guy, which wasn't that popular, but it was kind of like the same character.
Yeah. Yeah. So what he said actually was, brilliant black minds gave me a shot in Hollywood when none of the white guys thought I could connect or be a leading man. I got my first starring role, Ace Ventura, because of In Living Color. Forever grateful. And it's a picture of him with the guys from In Living Color. It looks like they're on some stage accepting an award or doing something.
The weigh-ins and everything like that.
The weigh-ins, yes. Yeah.
But yeah, like it's great that he paid homage to the Living Color people. I'm glad
they really made a lot of people's careers.
Yeah, they did.
To be fair,
Jennifer Lopez,
Jamie Foxx,
yeah. So it was a lot of people that became popular through In Living Color.
Rosie Perez. There's a lot of people who got popular from being on that show.
But yeah, like it's good. It's interesting. I'm glad that he did that. I don't think I'm shocked.
No, me either.
I think he would do something like that.
Yeah.
But like I'm appreciative but it helped let other people know, because a lot of people probably didn't know that that he broke ground in Living Color. Not on Ace Ventura. Ace Ventura is probably when you saw him first, but he only got that through In Living Color.
Yeah, the facts.
Yeah. So I'm happy about that.
Yes, indeed.
We can move on though.
Yes. For those who watch The Blacklist, I'm going to preface this by saying that I really need Raymond Reddington and Dembe to come through, and Dr. Kaplan to come through in this moment, in prefacing what I'm about to say. George Zimmerman, murderer of Trayvon Martin, rest in peace, has decided to take it upon himself to crustily file a lawsuit against Trayvon Martin and Trayvon Martin's parents and a host of other people for $100 million. I don't know why he thinks Miss Sabrina Fulton and them have $100 million to give him, or that anybody will tell them to give him $100 million. But apparently he is bored. He has nothing to do. He is just unbooked and unbusy, and so has decided to file suit for $100 million.
You have to understand something. And I was telling people, he has a certain level of confidence that I would never have.
Like it's very disconcerting to me.
Because he has a certain level of confidence. Because number one, remember after the whole thing happened, they gave him like people raised a bunch of money for him and gave him money for everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they gave him like a couple $1 million already then. So he felt a certain level of confidence.
Mm-hmm.
He got over in the whole trial.
Mm-hmm.
I think like after that whole thing, he got arrested a few times for like abusing his
girlfriend or wife or whoever
and stuff like that, and he's still free.
Yeah.
So and like he's been talking crazy to people all the time, and like he has a certain level.
He auctioned off the gun that he shot Trayvon Martin with. Why did he still have that? First of all, like didn't that go into somebody's evidence somewhere? Like why did he have that?
He feels unstoppable, so he's just going to keep pushing keep trying it over and over and over again.
When I saw that story, I'm like, please let this be The Onion, because this man cannot be serious. He cannot have serious, sir.
Like he feels unstoppable because he's like, I'm unstoppable.
Nothing can happen to me.
Honestly, I can't get mad that he feels that way because nothing has happened to him.
I mean, you're right. You're right. I am irritated with the fact that he killed that woman's son and now feels that he can come and even in any like way, shape, or form think he can petition that woman for money. For what? What does she owe you money for, sir?
For damaging his name.
Yo, Sabrina, I know that you trying to run for like public office down there in Florida, but like it's Florida, sis. You got to know somebody that will catch a body on your behalf because this dude is wildin'.
We will not promote.
We do not promote violence here at the All Love No Fear podcast.
FBI do not come for us.
No, do not come. We are not advocating. We're not advocating anything of the sort.
We're not advocating.
However,
for violence.
However, I do need someone to take Mr. Zimmerman in for a round of questioning because I'm trying to figure out where his head is at. That he thinks that he can press this woman whose son he killed for some money. Where they do that at, sir? Where? How? That's what I want to know. Where's Raymond Reddington? Where?
That's fine.
We've been watching The Blacklist, which is why I keep bringing it up because Raymond Reddington is a very fictional character, but I need the real version of him that exists out there to kind of interject.
We're only in season 3.
Yeah. But it's a very good show. If you don't watch it and you're looking for something to watch The Blacklist. But real talk, like George Zimmerman is wilding, 100%. He's line stepping. In the words of the late great Charlie Murphy, he's a habitual line stepper. That's what he is. He's a habitual line stepper, and I just want to know when he's going to be stopped from stepping over the lines. That's what I want to know, because he just keeps doing it. He just keeps tap dancing over the lines over and over, and I have questions. I want to know like what's up, because he can't be serious. He's got to be joking.
He is in fact serious.
I hope no one will take. I hope that if this ever gets before a judge, that they're like, "Sir, stop playing with us. Get out of our face. Good day."
We can hope, but like I said, he is
it's Florida.
He has also been unstoppable in all these years.
Yeah, and it's Florida, and we know them ninjas ain't acted right in a long time.
Yeah,
I mean, they can't be trusted. All shade to Florida, by the way, all shade. Yeah, so trash. Moving on. So Mark is in a conundrum this week. Two of Mark's favorite people in the whole wide world are fighting. With glee, I announced this. So as those of you who listen to this podcast know, or you know Mark in real life, Mark is a rap / hip hop and poetry aficionado. And there are two people in those worlds that he stands and is part of the hive of. I'm introducing the story here. You hold on. So, Mark is a stan. He's part of the hive for rapper Sean Jay-Z Carter. And he's also simultaneously a member of the hive for poet, musician Saul Williams. And it appears that the hives are in conflict.
So,
take it away.
First thing, this is what came to my mind when I first heard it.
Let's not fight. Let's not fight. It's not right. So let's not fight.
So that's what came to my mind.
First of all, if you're a parent of a toddler, you know exactly what that is. If you don't, That is a song from a Netflix children's show called Word Party. Avery loves that show. That's her current fave. And, you know, it's a show that teaches children about how to interact and play with one another, and it teaches them a lot of other, like, life skills things. But they have a little song when they get into disagreements to help them resolve it, and that was the song that Mark just played for you. I did not expect that that's what you were going to play. I was like, is that Let's Not Fight? Is that...
Yes. That is a song I thought about when I heard the conflict.
That's how you know that you're a parent of a toddler, because you be singing all the toddler jingles for the shows. You'd be like, I got to pull my life together. But yes, let's not fight. Let the children lead them. Let's not fight. Mm-hmm.
So this is what I assume from what's in there. So Saul Williams did an interview. I don't remember when it was, but he was like talking about, I guess, Jay-Z and how he was operating, I think, with the NFL deal, and like a few things like about his financial, in terms of financial, moving on, like his focus on finances and building the Black community through finances. Mm-hmm. Black prosperity. I think we had a topic about that before.
Yeah.
And then he saw we were talking about that and like how you using the tools that we're using is not correct. Mm-hmm. Basically, what a lot of people had issue with Jay-Z in the first place. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing he was saying.
Right.
And then I guess Jay-Z, found an interview, and I guess he emailed Saul Williams, and he said, "Our fight for economic freedom is new. It's not the same war that Harriet Tubman was fighting. Mm-hmm. If I used the same weapons as them, I would be shooting a musket at people with fully automatic assault rifles. Although I think it's a must, we must challenge each other. We should be careful that it doesn't come off as judgment." In which Saul Williams replied, "I wouldn't characterize our fight for economic freedom as new. Mm-hmm. There has been wealthy Black Americans in every generation since the 1600s and in Africa since forever. During segregation, accumulated Black wealth and Black-owned businesses were at a peak. Black newspapers, magazines, schools, record labels. Yet psychological freedom from hard-taught capitalism is hard to earn. African billionaires, for example, have brought little relief to the continent of Africa. The seduction of power and the systemic constraints of white supremacy will take more than money to burn. The root of the market economy is still almost entirely based on the sourcing of rare minerals, where the exploitation of African miners and land is the analog reality of our modern age technological advances. Thus, we pushed for essentially socialist measures which provide health care and education to all. Money can be disappeared, but the lessons you learn along the way are yours to keep. Whether we learn from the streets, schools, and prisons, or by playing the game, it is that hard-earned knowledge that allows us to understand how to spend what we earn in ways that can truly make a difference." And he goes on and on. Mm-hmm. And what I will say is, in this debate, Saul Williams has been doing this for a long time, fighting this fight for a long time. And what he's basically saying is when it comes to Black prosperity, we keep talking about in terms of money. Knowledge is more important. Money is fleeting, basically, all the things. And like, because you have on Jay-Z's side, he's like, we need to get more Black people and money and power. Mm-hmm. That is his mindset. And when we do that, and then we can become prosperous. Saul Williams is saying all that is cool, but that's not important, because he used examples of the Black millionaires in Africa and how that didn't really make it better, and like how we've had, because
they're profiting from a lot of that same exploitation.
Correct. And like how we've had people with money throughout the years, and that wasn't the problem. The problem is having knowledge and like people and the social aspect of it, and like getting free healthcare. Like it's a lot more than just getting people to have money and power and everything. And my mindset, I think I'm definitely leaning more towards Saul Williams into the mindset. But the reality is, I think I've said it before. I think all stances are important in reality. I think all stances are always going to be important for prosperity. I don't think that Jay-Z's 100% wrong,
Mm-hmm.
but neither do I think that Saul Williams is 100% right.
Mm-hmm.
I think all aspects. I think both the Oprah, the Jay-Z, the Saul Williams, I think they're all important. The Ta-Nehisi Coates, I think they're all important for their lane and everything.
Right. And I think both perspectives are needed in the ultimate unification of Black people being prosperous.
Correct.
Because I think we do need those people on the side of Jay-Z who are like business minded, who are concerned with maintaining our economic prosperity. But I also think that there is space for at the table, and there needs to be space at the table for those people like Saul Williams who are just like, yeah, the money's cool, but like, how can those resources be distributed from that money to make sure that everybody's taken care of? Because there's no point in setting up a Black community that's like, set apart and operating on its own if it's just structured like how mainstream society is structured, where it's the Jay-Z's, the Oprahs, these people at the top, and everybody else is fighting for the scraps.
Correct.
There's no point.
Correct.
We don't have to have a Black version of that because we are living life that way now.
So I feel like better.
So I feel like what Saul Williams is saying is also true, and like the people with that perspective also need to have a voice in the conversation about Black prosperity, because Black prosperity is not just about money. Like, yes, it's great that, we have money and there are people in our community who have money, but like our prosperity is linked to more than just finances. Like, if our people are dying early because we don't have access to good food, or we don't have access to health care to treat the ailments that we have, we don't have access to education that is really edifying us and teaching us about ourselves and teaching us about how to navigate the world, if we don't have access to, just the ability to pursue the things we want to pursue and live the lives we want to live without this overarching like white supremacy structure holding us back, then we're basically just creating the same situation in a smaller vacuum.
The reality is not everybody wants to be a millionaire.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like,
that's the reality.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Correct.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Not
Prosperity is defined differently for everybody.
Correct.
And for some people, maybe prosperity is just, okay, I don't live in a food desert. I have access to quality food. Some people's prosperity is, I have access to quality health care that I don't have to pay like $1,000 a month premium on.
Correct.
Like,
and I'll handle everything else myself.
Yeah, it means different things to different people. So I think all of those voices need to be at the table to kind of create this like environment and community that we want.
Yeah, because what he's basically saying is, just because we have a bunch of Black people who have a lot of money, that doesn't mean that everything's going to be okay.
Right. Like, there's still Black people who don't have that money. And
Correct.
like, what is happening for them?
Yeah. Just teaching people how to, and I think that's my issue a lot of times when talking to certain people. It's like they're constantly talking about, especially to younger people, like, all right, you can do this, but what makes more money?
Right.
And I don't know if that's a right mindset either.
Mm-hmm.
Like, a lot of people are against college because like, yeah, but why would you go to college? You can make more money doing this. Like, well, what if you don't want to do that?
Right. Like, I've worked in higher ed now for, what year is this? 2019. Gonna be, what, 8? No, it has been 8 years. 8 years just passed last month. Like, I've been working in higher ed for 8 years, and I can say without a shadow of a doubt, a grand number of these children that are in college don't need to be.
Correct. But there are people who do. Like, for instance, a big thing what I'm saying is like teachers.
Mm-hmm.
You need a degree to be a teacher.
Yes.
I'm actually talking from the opposite side because like some people, like, there's like a big movement like, why sending people to college? But what if they want to be a teacher, or a doctor, or a lawyer?
Mm-hmm.
You need degrees for those.
You need to
things.
go to You cannot just show up and
need
be like,
degrees
you know
for
what,
those
this is what I want to do. You actually need to go through formal educational training for those.
Yeah,
things.
and those things are so important.
Yes,
And those things are very important.
Right. And I'm like, I don't have a problem with somebody saying, you know what, I don't want to go the college route. I want to go like I've had students who like left college because they got an apprenticeship being an electrician,
which is fine,
or a plumber. Like, go do that. There's bags to be secured out there.
Yeah.
I'm not looking down on you for doing that. I think part of our issue too is elitism sometimes, but because we feel like, oh, well, you have to go to college. If you're not going to college and doing like a white collar career, then what are you doing?
Like I said, I'm talking about actually both sides, because like on one side people are like that, on the other side people were like, oh, everybody goes to college is foolish.
Yeah,
I've heard that too. Like I actually shout out to Kevin on stage, but he was talking about that because I guess he believes that college is foolish. He was like, no, but if you don't go, college, like but that's if your goal is to make money.
Right, to do what he does right now, he didn't need to go to college.
Correct. If you want to do that. But if you don't want to do that.
Right, like if there's something, because I feel like some people, like everybody has to, like.
What if you don't want to go to your own business?
Right, and that's the thing that I think a lot of, like, in tying into this, like, prosperity conversation with black people, a lot of black people feel that everybody should be entrepreneurially minded. And I always wonder, if everybody's entrepreneurially minded, who's running the damn business?
Who's working for you?
Who's working for you? Because you can't do everything that your business is set up to do by yourself. So who are you hiring to do it? If everybody's an entrepreneur, who's the worker? Who?
So because if you don't have workers, you're just working till you die. Right,
because I'm like, human resources wise, everybody being an entrepreneur don't make sense. But whatever.
It's not helpful.
Y'all go off. Yeah.
But I think that like I said, speaking on both sides, I think both sides are feeling like the other side is stupid.
Right, and it's like there's room at the table for all these perspectives.
Correct.
This way works for you. This way works for you. And nobody's wrong for their way. It's just their way that works for them. And that's it.
Word.
That's it.
All right. Ready to move on?
Yes. Moving on. The other thing that popped up in the news today that, is more fighting, more outrage sparking.
Outrage!
That's how outrage sounds. Especially when it's like foolishly directed. So Michael Vick is a retired NFL quarterback. We've all heard of him in some capacity. If you've not been living under a rock for like the last 10 to 15 years, you know who Michael Vick is. So a couple years ago, I don't know what year it was. Let's say anywhere between 7 and 10 years ago, Michael Vick got caught up on a dog fighting ring situation, animal cruelty charge, and went to jail for a little while. And some people have never forgiven him for it. I just want to publicly say that the energy that y'all keep for animal cruelty, I need y'all to keep that for actual humans dying. But whatever. So Michael Vick has been selected to be an honorary Pro Bowl captain for the upcoming Pro Bowl. And the people are up in arms because Michael Vick has been selected because he was involved in some dog fighting like 10 years ago. And
I think more than 10 years ago.
Seriously, it's been such a long time. Almost 300,000 people have signed a petition to remove him as an honorary Pro Bowl captain. And I'm just like, when are you people going to let it go?
They will not.
Like, he didn't kill a human, okay? I love dogs. I love animals as much as the rest of people. But my God, can we let it go? Y'all let Ray Lewis, murder adjacent behind, play in the NFL, celebrated him, still to this day. But this man did some dog fighting and we can't let that go? We've got all these dudes in the NFL that abuse their wives, use drugs, do all types of reprehensible things. But this one thing that happened years and years ago, and you haven't even seen Michael Vick near a dog since, and you can't move on? You can't let that go? For an honorary the Pro Bowl isn't even something that matters in the grand scheme of things. So I just don't even understand what the outrage is about. Like, I was genuinely confused when I heard that there was outrage. I'm like, this man is almost 40 years old. Like, are we going to move on? Like this. When did this thing happen? Let me look it up, because it was a long time ago. Oh my God, hold on. When was this? 2000 and hold on, let me see. 2007. Like, come on, people. Like, I need y'all to stop it. It's been 12 years since the situation happened. Like, let's move on.
Like, we have to simmer down.
Like seriously, like, it's not that serious.
Now, like, of course, you have people aggressive on both sides.
Right. Like, I get, like I said, I understand the animal rights activists. Like, they're very upset about what he did to those animals. I get it.
I think he went to jail for it.
Yeah, he went to a whole jail.
And that's fine. And then, but he's fine now.
He was in jail for 2 years.
Yes. And then he's fine.
Right.
He hasn't done it again.
Right.
Chilling. But, like, y'all just won't let it go.
Like, let it go.
Y'all just won't let it go.
Like, 300,000 people in this country are still that mad? 12 years?
Like, he was a good football player. He could do this.
Right, like, just,
he was a good football player.
Like, just relax, people. Lord have mercy.
Good times. Good times.
I just don't understand. Times. Like, let it go. The man done moved on. Done got married. He's living his best. Like, why y'all still bringing this up?
You'll have to let it go.
Let it go. Let it go. Like, stop.
He killed dogs.
Like, please believe NFL fans. This is not something that's shaming the NFL by having him participate in Pro Bowl.
This is only because y'all didn't research everybody else, the crazy stuff they've done.
Right. Like, you just heard Michael Vick and was like, ah!
Because I'm pretty sure the other captains that have been there, they've all been crazy things. They've abused their wives.
Like,
have done crazy things.
God only knows, but y'all want to sit up. Leave Michael Vick alone, okay? Jesus of Nazareth. Y'all do too much sometimes. Get on my daggone nerves.
Y'all obsession with animals. It's a little unhealthy.
Like, I don't care what any of y'all try to tell me. Animals are not on the same level as humans. They're not, okay? I love animals, except snakes. I don't fool with them. Just want to be clear. I love animals, but they're not on the same level as me as a human. So I don't understand the level of venom y'all have for people who harm animals, but like don't keep that energy for people who harm other people. Like, it's confusing. Mm-hmm. Y'all mad at Michael Vick, but still letting men beat their wives. But I guess go off, sis. Yeah, moving on. Moving on to happier things. I don't know if this is happier, but moving on. So GQ magazine did a sort of follow-up piece earlier this week, or I guess, earlier this week. I guess by the time you hear this last week, to talk about Nipsey Hussle. It was called The Light of Los Angeles. That's the name of it. If you want to go look it up on GQ's website, you can. And I read it earlier this week, and I just wanted to talk about it really quick because basically it was an interview where they kind of talked to his brother Sam, his father, to some of his friends and business partners, people and his sister, people he collaborated with music, and they talked to Lauren London. And basically they all said that, he was a very principled guy. He was offered like record deals and he turned them down because they wanted to kind of exploit him. He was like, no, I'm going to do this my way. Like, he was very particular about, the way he wanted to do things. And, everybody said that he was, really committed to doing his music. He was very serious about it. He really had a lot of books and was really into reading and gaining knowledge and stuff like that. And it was just really, really positive, a positive article to read. I think the thing that stuck out to me about it was Lauren London when they spoke to her about his passing. It's been about 6 months now, and basically, it was really cute to kind of hear their story from her perspective, about how they met a mutual friend. They met through a mutual friend, and their relationship was just very easy. Like, it just sounds like they just really had a really good tight bond. And, she said when they asked her, how does she feel about all of the love that she's receiving from people as a result of his passing, she's like, I can't articulate how I feel about what has happened. And I can't talk about a lot of what happened in our last moments together because it's just too overwhelming. And I just felt, what she said was, I can't talk about our last day together, and I still have to be strong for my children. I have a 3-year-old that's still asking, where is daddy? He doesn't understand the concept of death. And that just made me like almost tear up reading that, because I'm just like, dang. Like, to us, it's like, yeah, this happened, and it seems like a lot of time has passed, but like, it really hasn't been a lot of time at all. And, the fact that I'm just thinking about the fact that she's dealing with her own pain, but she kind of has to almost push that to the side because his child is asking her, where is he? Because he's 3 and he doesn't understand that he's not coming back. Like, I just can't imagine like how that must feel.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just sad. And, based on everything that everybody said in the article, it really sounds like, he was really trying to do good things in life, despite some of the bad decisions that he had made. Because his father was like, I saw him getting involved in that gang stuff, and I was like, bro, what are you doing? And it's like, but it seems like he really made a positive impact on the world, and, that his death impacted so many people so negatively. Like, it's like people are like, the article itself wasn't negative, but like, it's like almost reading it, like I could feel the sadness of the people talking in the article, especially like his family members, even though like what they were saying was positive. There was something about it that still felt sad to me. And so, but I thought it was a really, really dope article, like reading and hearing about him from the perspectives of all these different people. So if you have a chance, you should definitely check it out for sure.
Word.
And the last thing we wanted to talk about here at
the All
Love No Fear podcast, before we get out of here. So some of you may have heard of Pastor John Gray. He used to have a show on OWN. Funny story, sidebar. Mark and I saw him for the first time like a million years ago when we took the kids from our church to some church in Queens. I don't even know where we were. Some corner of Queens that I don't go to. Yeah, I think it was like Glendale or Middle Village or one of them places I don't go to in Queens.
And he was like the comedy.
He was like the comedian for the evening, I think. And like I actually was like, wow, this guy is really funny. And I think this was like before he had gotten married. And before
it was way before.
It was a long time ago. Because if we were taking the kids somewhere, them kids is like 20-something now.
Yeah.
So it was a long time ago. But we went and saw him, and we thought he was really, really funny. And then, over the years he got married. He's been, affiliated with T.D. Jakes' church.
He's grown very popular.
He's grown to be very popular because his sermons are very much, it's straight talk with a little bit of like comedy mixed in. So it's very palatable for people who are kind of looking for not an entertainment factor, but like to be engaged in a different way when it comes to sermons than what some of us may have traditionally grown up with. So anyway, he had a show on OWN, I guess up until earlier this year, maybe, Book of Gray, I think it was called, or something like that, where like it chronicled his life with his family and him helping people with various issues that they had come to him with. And it also chronicled the last season of the show, him moving to South Carolina to take over this church called Relentless from this Book of John Gray. The show chronicled him moving to South Carolina to take over this church called Relentless from this pastor Carpenter, Reverend, I think Ron Carpenter. He was a part of T.D. Jakes' church or affiliated with it in some way. Then he was also affiliated with Joel Osteen's church, Lakewood, at some point before he started moving over to this church in South Carolina. You may also have heard about him earlier this year. He got caught cheating, and
no. Before that was like the big thing between him buying a car for his.
Yes,
his wife.
He bought this $200,000 car for his wife, and people was like, and I think we talked about it here on the podcast.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have a problem with you buying no car for your wife as long as you're not stealing the church's money.
Yeah. But then we found out it was because he was cheating.
He was cheating on the wife, and they did this whole like press tour where they were like, the woman was a strange woman and she was evil and this, that, the third, and the fourth.
Talking bad about the woman. I'm
like, if y'all don't cut it. And then he went and met with Trump He was part of that group of pastors that went to meet with Trump, and I remember him saying that his wife told him don't do it, and he was like, you didn't hear from God, I did, I'm going. But then afterwards he regretted it after he got the backlash of whatever was going on. So all that happened for him. This has been a terrible year for John Gray. 2019 has not looked good. And it does not appear to be ending on a good note either.
And I think that it's interesting. I think what happens is, this is why it always lay with me when our previous pastor, Reverend Damon, was saying,
shout out to Reverend Damon,
don't hype me up too much.
Right. Don't put a battery in my back.
Don't hype me up too much, because stuff is going to crash on me. Because when people try to highlight me and make me better than everyone else, that's when things are going to start crashing around me. And I think people were hyping him up too much, and people were giving him. I think people, I don't know if it's on him, but because people are putting him up too high, and then he might have been up too high, God's going to show you that he's not. I am. So, as Reverend Daniel was like, don't mess me up, trying to do not
right,
hype me up, do not praise me, do not hype me up, because you're gonna mess me up, because God's going to take me down, because you out here wilding.
Yeah, because and this goes back to what we talk about a lot of times with pastor worshiping, like people just be doing the most and like gassing these people's head up.
And then some crazy stuff happens and breaks them down.
So basically, what happened, what I stumbled upon this week, there's a guy called Larry Reed. He has a Facebook show, Larry Reed Live. And a friend of mine put me on to him. He talks a lot about stuff that happens in the church communities, because he's a former pastor himself and he's still involved in the church communities. And basically, he was talking about how something came out that John Gray has been evicted from that building where Relentless Church is located in South Carolina. And so I was like, oh. So I watched a little bit of his live. It was long, so I didn't stick around and watch the whole thing. But essentially, it seems as if John Gray has not been keeping up with the rent over at the building. So basically, from what Larry Reed said, it sounds like he moved over to this church in South Carolina, and there were no formal written down agreements about rent and things like that. It was legit just verbal agreements between him and Ron Carpenter, who was the person. And basically, it sounds like John Gray didn't get his own church, quote unquote. This Ron Carpenter person was sort of trying to do one of those campus satellite church type things where it's if you watch Greenleaf, it's kind of like a Harmony and Hope situation where it's there's this one big umbrella church, and then they have all these different satellite campus churches. And so that's kind of what John Gray was doing.
The whole bishop pastor thing that most I think Kojics, Pentecostals do in the first place.
Yeah.
Same concept.
Yeah. It's I saw somebody wrote something on Facebook where they called it spiritual sharecropping, and I was like, I've never thought about that before, but my God, if you ain't right. Because basically, you're operating under the thing, my church is doing this over here, I want to spread that to all these smaller campuses, so let me go do that. And because this Relentless Church was a primarily black population, they were like, oh, let me bring this black guy on to kind of work this land and do this pastoring over here while I'm over at my other bigger satellite, my bigger umbrella church. So basically, there was supposed to be some type of lease, but it wasn't written down. It was a verbal lease. And I guess they were saying that the way they're painting the story is that John Gray was not managing the finances of the church well. And so basically he fell behind on paying the rent for the building. And so he's being evicted.
Usually the pastor doesn't handle that anyway.
No, he doesn't. But what the guy Larry Reed said is none of the people working on staff at the church were chosen by John Gray. It's literally John Gray and his wife, and then all the other people that work for the church are people that were there from before that worked for.
That's a bad way to manage.
That's exactly.
That's a bad way to manage.
That's a bad way to manage. That's part of what's going on with that, and then apparently he, but the thing was when he bought his wife this car, which he said he bought with his own money. He then turned around a couple months later and asked the church to foot a $250,000 bill for repairs to the church roof, in addition to what they were already collecting in weekly tithes and offering. So it's like, if you're leasing this building, the way I understand leases to work is if something's broken over here, the landlord fixes it. So why are you requesting $250,000 from church members after you brazenly spent this $200,000 on your wife's car to ask for them to repair the building fund? Now it looks suspicious. Now it looks like you did, in fact, use the church's money to buy the car, and now you're asking the church to reimburse because somebody figured out that you used the church's money to buy the car. So it's just shiesty. Again, the Christianity public relations team needs to be formed immediately. We need to get Olivia Pope on the case, like I have said, because it looks suspicious. So it sounds to me like John Gray, he says, in regard to the roof issue, Ron Carpenter handed us the keys. The keys were not to a paid-off building. The keys were to an opportunity to continue the work. Nothing you see is paid off. It wasn't paid off when we got here. The church also bought Pastor Gray a home, a $1.8 million home. It's just a lot of things that look financially suspicious. And the way it looks to me, it's like they're trying to pin it all on John Gray.
And that's what I'm trying to say. I was like, but like...
And he's the perfect patsy.
Yeah.
Because, like, who knows how long these issues had been going on before he even got there.
Correct.
But because they've now brought him there, made him the face of it,
he's
now the person that's messing everything up.
Yeah, like...
It's like...
I'm like, but like, no pastor handles all the finances of a church.
No.
No pastor does that.
No, that's not possible. So it's like, it's on the people that are there working on the
especially if they were there before.
Right. It's on them. Those are the people that have kind of mismanaged things or not done things properly. But because he's now...
Has he managed a church before?
No.
Okay, so he doesn't... All right.
So, but my whole thing is...
But I think they're non-denominational, so they don't have a book of order probably for it.
Child, listen. My whole thing, too, is he was like... he was an... I don't want to shade his ministry. I don't want to shade his work. But like he wasn't even the pastor of a small church before. He was legit like an associate pastor at a mega church. Like he was one of like, it was kind of like an Allen.
Correct.
Yeah, he was like a pastor.
One of multiple. So he didn't
pastoral staff.
So like he probably didn't understand, because like it's managing a church is like managing any business.
Right.
So unless you understand how to manage a big business with a bunch of people, like managing a bunch of people and managing a bunch of customers
right.
is basically how it
right.
is. So like he has to have knowledge of how to do that.
Right. And to me, I'm just like, he didn't have the knowledge to do it. And so I'm wondering about the people that were around him, like his spiritual leaders around him before he took this opportunity. Like, did they say to him, hey, are you sure that you can handle this? Are you sure you know what you're getting into? Are you sure that you know what you're signing up for? Because, you know, a lot of times certain doors will open up for us and we will think, oh, God is opening this door for me. God is telling me to do this. And it's like, no, maybe it's God trying to test you to see if you're humble enough to recognize that you're not prepared to do this thing.
And it could be a lot of different things.
Because
like,
when I heard when he was on the show talking about going to this church, I was like,
I remember it came out of nowhere. I was like, this
like a leap.
It seemed like a big leap, and I was like,
to be moving to another state where you don't have roots and to be doing this.
Are you ready for that?
Right, and I don't think he was.
And if you think that God's calling you to do that, then God has to. Then what are the steps? Right. So like figure out what those steps are. Then
mm-hmm.
Don't just jump in.
Right. And I feel like that's what he did.
Because God will bless you, but God is a God of order. Right. So he's going to give you the order.
Now all this flim-flam you girls be trying to do.
Yeah. So even if he did present that to you, mm-hmm. You have to like find out what the order is and what the process is, because it's still a business, and understand. You have to understand all the details. Right. Because the problem was that he was doing that, but he was still trusting the pastor he was doing that. Yes. And that's what the problem was. Right. Because God can give him do that, and God can help him change it, mm-hmm. but he can't trust that person. Right. And I think that's what the difference was.
And to me, like looking at the conglomeration of everything that has happened to him this year, I'm like, something tells me
something went wrong.
that you
Something went wrong.
Something went wrong, and something also tells me that you kind of got big in the britches and were a little more full of yourself than you needed to be.
Than you think you are.
And this was your humbling lesson.
And I realized that
it's a very public one.
Yeah, which is usually how it happens. And what matters is what you do after.
Absolutely.
And like what I don't know if you heard what she said, Ty Tribbett. It's true. What matters is what you do after.
Mm-hmm.
Ty Tribbett, I think, did the right thing after.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
He took a big break,
mm-hmm.
figured out what he was trying to do,
mm-hmm.
and he came back, and he came back different,
mm-hmm.
and he came back
absolutely
better.
Like I don't think this is the worst thing that could.
No, it's not the worst thing that happened, but he needs to take back because if he doesn't step back, it's going to get worse.
Right. So I hope he takes this moment to take a step back.
It's going to get worse.
To really seek God and figure out what he needs to do.
Don't go public and try to excuse anything.
Right. Don't do what you did with that cheating scandal.
Do not try to,
because that just made you look worse.
Because it made it worse. Like, do not do a public, because like it's going to keep getting worse.
Yeah. You need to hit us with a please respect my family at this time as we deal with this transition, and then come back to us in a year with something else.
You just take a sabbatical and figure it out.
Right. Because it is. Because it seems to me, like, based on what I remember from the show, like, he really thought this was going to be, like, his big break, his big opportunity to be, like, a full-fledged, like, T.D. Jakes, Joel Osteen level of pastor. And I'm just like...
Which is fine, but, like, everything he did behind
this thing is crashing and burning, child.
Like, especially the thing with, like, the car and, like, all that, all this other stuff that you did that probably... It shows you're not managing right.
Right.
You're not managing it well.
Yeah, you're not managing well. Like, I think he probably does need to go, seriously, no jokes, no shade. He does need to go to some type of counseling and try to figure out, like, how he got himself in this situation. Like, he needs to sit down with somebody and really, like, map out, like, what happened that led him here.
T.D. Jakes is different. T.D. Jakes is different. Like, people trying to be a T.D. Jakes, but people don't.
T.D. Jakes is one of one.
Yeah. You can't be a T.D. Jakes.
No, you got to be a you.
T.D. Jakes, I've not heard a scandal from T.D. Jakes.
Either he doesn't do anything, or he's got a darn good PR team that makes sure we never hear the half of anything that goes on.
Like, I don't hear anything about T.D. Jakes. T.D. Jakes makes sure everything gets done.
Let's not fool around and say that, and then some issues come out about it. Because every time we say something,
so
we got to turn back around like, yeah.
So T.D. Jakes.
Let's not. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Because if we got to come back to y'all with a T.D. Jakes, I'm gonna be heartbroken. Because I love me some T.D. Jakes. I don't love them outfits he be wearing. He be trying to dress young, and I'm like, T.D., you a grown man. Don't dress young no more. But
yeah, like he like don't be a T.D. Jakes, and you have to have a certain high level of humility.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that's something that he lacked.
I think the more money you get, the more fame you get, the higher form of humility you have to be.
Right.
And I think that's what kind of
because my thing is, all his streams of income look dry right now because they canceled the show on OWN because of the cheating stuff and probably the Trump backlash.
He's losing supporters.
He's losing supporters
he's losing supporters because of the Trump thing.
Yes, so like his book deals and like opportunities to like write books and do stuff like that is tarnished now because of the book stuff and the Trump stuff, and now you got this like financial mismanagement like thing looming over you with regards to pastoring this church. So I'm just like, it's looking rough for you.
Yeah, and especially with your statement was saying like God said to do this, and then you came back and say he didn't. I was like, all right, so what are you listening to then? Right. I think the greatest thing someone told me when listening to how you know you listen to God is you're listening to think about it in terms of what logically makes sense in your mind. Mm-hmm. How does it feel in your heart and spiritual? Mm-hmm. So a lot of people do like, oh, I feel the spirit and everything. Like, but logically, how does it look? Mm-hmm. And how does it feel emotionally? Like, make sure your heart, mind, and spirit are all in accordance to if God is saying to you. Because God is saying to you, but it doesn't like, logically make sense, then think about it again. Because like all three should line up.
Right. Okay, that's a great perspective. I've never heard it like that before.
Yeah, like someone saying, like make sure it logically makes sense. Mm-hmm. Make sure your heart makes sense emotionally, and it makes sense spiritually. If all three make sense, then you know it's more discernment, not just one. Because a lot of people just take one and run with it. Well, like, oh, does a lot of make sense? Then move on. Right. Is it hurting your heart in the process? Is it like it's not making? Then no, don't do it. All three should make sense.
Right. I agree. That's really smart. I like that. I have to employ that in my life. No, for real. Like, that makes a lot of sense. Like, I've never thought about it in that way before, but like it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah. So, anything else on your docket for today?
Tea tips.
Tea tips? Okay. Tea tips.
The tea tip that I want to go over, BLM tea tips, is called the CRM. CRM stands for Customer Relationship Management.
Mm-hmm.
All right. CRM, they have a lot of platforms for CRM. One of the most popular ones, the two popular ones are Salesforce and HubSpot.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, it's a place where you can manage all your customers that come in and give deadlines and have other people work it out. And I think it works out because you can share it with your customers so they can ask you questions. Get a CRM.
Mm-hmm.
Like usually they have free versions in the beginning, but you might have to pay for like a monthly charge for it. But it's a good way to just manage all your customers, manage all your emails you have, manage all your phone numbers. It's good to have a CRM. Like I said, the most popular ones are Salesforce and HubSpot. Google them, figure them out.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a good way, like I said, to manage people coming in, manage their contact information, manage what previous orders they've had previously. It's just a good way to do that.
Mm-hmm.
If you've been doing it for a while, if you've already been in business for a while, it's good to just go back and just put all your previous customers in your HubSpot or anything. Of course, they have the apps for it to do it, but it's just a good way to manage what's going on and to have a full scope of what you're doing with your business. So please do me a favor, look up HubSpot, look up Salesforce, manage your customers. You can send emails out from that platform. You can send out quotes, invoices. You can do all those things.
Mm-hmm.
You just use HubSpot, Salesforce.
Yeah.
Very important.
Yeah, they're very, very effective. We don't use Salesforce where I work. We use something like for education called Hobson's Retain, but it's like super useful because you can keep all the information for all the contacts you've ever done. You can see, like with the one we use, if we sent out an email, like we can see if the email was opened, when it was opened, like we can see, you know, how many contacts we've had with the person, what the contact has been, what it's been about. Like it's a great way to like track and assess what your customers' needs are, so you can and help you to anticipate what their needs will be going forward based on past needs. So
yeah, it's important to, like, even if it's you by yourself, it's good to start doing that now, so that if you have employees or other people working for you, they can all, you can kind of manage what's going on, so that if other people talking to somebody, you know they talked to them and what they talked about, so you can kind of it's a good way to manage. Manage all your customers to make sure. Let's say you gave someone a certain price, you would know what that price is.
Right.
So you're not like giving them a less or more price than last time. Like you know what's going on.
Yes.
All right, so just set it up. The new year is coming up, January 1st. So try to get that, like start setting that up. So by the time January 1st starts, you have everything lined up. All right.
Facts.
Anything else?
Nah, that was it. I wanted to talk about some new music, but like this podcast is already at like 2 hours, so we're gonna wrap it up.
We'll talk about it next time.
We'll talk about it next time. I always be like, this podcast ain't gonna take this long, and then I'd be looking at the time like, oh.
Yeah, we are at 2 hours.
We are at 2 hours, so let's wrap it up.
So thank you so much, everybody, for listening to us.
Yes.
Thank you so much for all the supporters that are here.
Yes, thank you so much.
Awesome.
Yes, yes.
And
we love our supporters. Blessings be upon you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for all you have been for us.
Yes.
And we will catch you later.
Yes, until next time.
We bid you
adieu.
Adieu.
Wow, Mark. Yeah, boy.
Yeah.
It's the All Love, No Fear podcast.
Hey.
It's the All Love, No Fear podcast.
Hey.
Check us out. It's the All Love, Oh, No Fear podcast.
Podcast.
All Love, Oh, No Fear podcast.